be the future.
Welcome back to a windy day in Tucson. The 10 a.m. kickoff to open up day number 2 here in southern Arizona. It's the 8-seed defending national champion, Prairie State, breaking the huddle, taking on the 12-seed Patrick and Henry, who we saw yesterday. They fell 5-1 to Northeast, but that game probably closer than most would have really seen it if you just looked at the score. The Patriots out of Martinsville, Virginia, will kick off in the navy blue for the second straight day, and the Pioneers from Chicago Heights, Illinois, in all white, led by their number 9, wearing number 26 today, Agbaku Joffrey. A talented goal scorer, only 7 on the season, but a big physical presence, the tallest player in this tournament at 6'4". As our center referee, Mersha Kishel, gets ready, looks off. Andre Chavez in goal for P&H. Brian Sikora here with you all day on the men's side. The women have already kicked off as well. They're on the grandstand field for the first 2 days here at Keno Sports Complex in the northern part of the city. Day 2 is off and running as Patrick and Henry pull away with early possession. Saeed Santo, one of the better facilitators in this tournament, didn't have the opportunity to show it too much yesterday. Patrick and Henry, they want to have the ball more. That was a message from Brennan Murphy, their head coach, was let's take it to Prairie State. You're a young team, you've got nothing to lose. This was, as we said yesterday, supposed to be a rebuilding year for the Pioneers, or the Patriots rather. And, well, really, it has overexceeded every expectation thrown at them. Prairie State with their first few graces of the ball. Missing Dylan Hawley, one of their leaders defensively. This is Jaime Dominguez, one of the men replacing him, a freshman from Seville, Spain. Felipe Villa then rung forward, and they tried to work it through Joffrey, but they couldn't do so. 4 games today for the men once again. Santo moves it along. You've got Prairie State and Patrick and Henry to kick it off, and then we get a chance to see another look at Pearl River. They'll play St. Louis, and we close into the afternoon slate with Heartland, their second appearance of this tournament. Schoolcraft, the highest scoring team in the country, is their opponent, and the day ends with the de facto home team, the 5th-seeded Pima Community College Aztecs. They will take on the number 9 seed Iowa Lakes to close it out. The first whistle of the day from Kishel, and it's a free kick for Patrick and Henry. Scott Manning, he was good yesterday on this wing area for Murphy and the Patriots, team that has scored 45 goals this season. Good for around 40th in the country. Kept 7 clean sheets. They didn't keep one yesterday. They've conceded 24 goals, 5 of them coming in that loss to the number 1 overall seed, Northeast. Northeast beat this Prairie State team at the beginning of this season. Lifted in and barely gets to the box. The wind is blowing strongly in the faces of Patrick and Henry in the blue as they start fast through the first 3 minutes of this one. A couple of changes from yesterday's team. Jaden Watson, who was the left back for Patrick and Henry, he starts in midfield as one of the central midfielders as the 8. They bring in their left back, Jordan Katniss, who was absent from yesterday's game due to suspension. Bruno Gajiri, and he's trying to stretch it Out wide for the attacking run of Leo Dutra. This is Prairie State, a high-pressing team. They are direct, they will sit, they will wait for you, but they will be high-octane when they can. Villa. A good challenge from Enrique Jacobs. One back. McGlory Makila. Makila, it's got the wind behind it. And McGlory Makila is one of the better players in the country, was one of the better players on this Prairie State team a season ago that won the national title. He's a sophomore now from Conago, Congo. It's his 18th start. He's got a team-leading 17 goals on the season, a nation-leading 6-game winners to his name. A long ball over the back, and this is Enrique Jacobs at the back post. It's a ball into João Prestes, and Jacobs will get onto it. Makes one miss, and Jacobs, the South African, with time to drive towards the second post, and skips along, still with the attacking group of Patrick and Henry. Jordan Katniss had nowhere to go. That ball exited and will be the first corner kick for the Patriots of this game. Patrick and Henry, a mixed bag. They've got 7 players locally from Virginia, 11 nationally. João Prestes, one of the players from Brazil on this team, headed away by Joffrey, and Makila, if he can get to the ball first, can counter. He still could. He's through. This ball rolling towards Andre Chavez, who's going to come off his line and deal with it. But almost caught out. Patrick and Henry, defending champions, haven't really gotten a foothold through the first 5 minutes of this game. 2 balls on the field. Here, Arthur De Souza having a conversation with his Patrick and Henry team, the assistant of Brennan Murphy. A lifted ball in behind from Thiago Souza. Is that going to stay in? It can't. Leo Dutra couldn't get there in time. He's playing more on the wing this year, Dutra, instead of as that true number 10. An attacking midfielder, that facilitator. He leads this team in assists. Sophomore from Chapeco, Brazil. Makila after the high press. Gujiri. Villa. Joffrey looked for Villa again. Another Souza. And now João Prestes. Prestes. A long switch getting hung up and kept in by Scott Manning. Christopher Tari. A long ball to find the feet of Benny Hernandez Pacheco. Watson. And the North Carolina native, Santo. Eric Mesquita, that center back pairing, despite giving up 5 goals yesterday of Mesquita and Chava Bernal, were quite impressive. Christopher Tari. Continues to compete. And after a lot of players hit the floor, Tari won a free kick. Foul was committed by Chris Chavez, or rather Fabian Montes. Tari, he had a good day yesterday when they could get him the ball. Very athletic as the right back, can get up and down the flanks with ease. His opposite is the left back on your screen, who's going to take this one, Jordan Katniss. An in-swinging ball. Flicked to on and left away. Cleared back for Katniss. Low ball. He went for a shot on goal. Easily scooped by Igor Murjaljevic. Maybe the best goalkeeper in all of Division II. This one's going to bounce kindly. Makila too much steam behind it. But Mrjaljevic has allowed just 12 goals this year, 52 saves, an .813 save percentage. He was the reason, in large part, that they won the national title a year ago as a freshman from Podgorica, Montenegro. Eric Mesquita, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. He's a freshman, part of many on this roster. They graduated 15 sophomores last season. 9 of them were starters for this Patriot team. Jaden Watson commits a foul. He's the captain of this team. Watson, a sophomore this year from Johannesburg, South Africa. First opportunity for Prairie State to get the big boys involved. Joffrey, 6'4". They'll shove some of the center backs up there as well. Souza's service, looking, and it came to the back post and skipped free from Jaime Dominguez. The traveling support of Patrick and Henry here today, a lot better than that of Chicago-based Prairie State. See the pink arm sleeve. 2 players sporting that today. Leo Dutra, one of them. The other, Thiago Souza. 6 goals, 9 assists for Souza this year. And as a freshman from Sao Paulo. Here's Dutra. Spinning free and difficult to work with as Joao Prestes wins on the press. Enrique Jacobs is joining him. Prestes tried to cut it back and earns another corner kick. Late arriving run from Hernandez Pacheco. Prestes had the goal yesterday. He's playing as the number 9. He's typically an attacking midfielder for Brendan Murphy. On this windy day, it will blow towards the frame of Mrjaljevic. Prestes whipping one over everyone and headed away cleanly by Dominguez. A chase made by Gajiri. He's got Makila forward in support. He'll carry himself, and Makila made the run wide. The ball went narrow, and Andre Chavez telling everybody to settle in. Chavez, who made a fair share of saves yesterday. I don't know if he really caught a ball in the Sunday opener, but he was able to keep out Northeast on a number of occasions. Still, they conceded 5 goals. He's got 6 clean sheets this season, a freshman from Concord, North Carolina.
We didn't even notice those.
Villa, Gajiri, and Dutra. Leo Dutra, one of the leading scorers on this team last year and this year. Dutra, joined by Makila, who's got the right side of it. Maglior Makila. And this time Chavez hangs on. Wind again shoving still. It was same as yesterday. It was even worse on Sunday morning. Leo Dutra tried to squeeze one back for the chance for Souza. It got through eventually, and Thiago Souza, an active start for both teams. Nobody finding a footing. Today, though, much of the same as yesterday morning. 74 for this opening game. Here in Tucson, the wind's slightly less at 10 miles an hour. Yesterday, it was around 15. It's also about 4 degrees cooler. Long ball over the top could be difficult to deal with, and it is dealt with by Dominguez. Prestes dropped over, and Dominguez commits the foul again, replacing Dylan Hawley, sophomore from Essex, England. Hawley, one of the captains of this Pioneers team that won the title last year. He missed a lot of that last year's tournament too, and you look at Carlos Reyes, you ask him how big of a loss that is, and you can kind of just see the drop in his body language. He loves Dylan Hawley. He thinks, 15 games played, 15 starts. They're much better defensively without him. A free kick for Patrick and Henry. Zaid Santo. He'll drive this one, and Murjaljevic can only parry it away. Dominguez. And it's not clear yet. It's not kept in by Fabian Montes. Prestes, Cristari. Scott Manning. And all the way backwards. Chava Bernal, Santo. And the triangulation through to get Eric Mosquita. A big diagonal. Tari was getting there. Dominguez and Souza very involved in the build-up. Splitting ball for Joffrey. Look at his frame and a wonderful tackle from Bernal. Makila dazzles over Santo and good help. Zaid Santo got a little too handsy. Mershakisho, our center official today, we'll call it a little bit tighter, it appears, than the group did yesterday. Quarter of an hour in, Souza will lift this ball and sailed over everybody's head for Prairie State. 14 straight wins coming into this tournament out of the Midwest part of this Division II level. They are 6-1 in Midwest games. They've not lost on the road. They lost 2 games early in the year to Northeast, and then they lost to Morton College, their city rivals, and they've not lost since. 17 games that they haven't dropped this year, and those 14 straight wins following the Morton loss. That Northeast College game was a preseason, big-time bout between 2 top 10 squads. Northeast beat them 3-0 in Prairie State. Pioneers, according to Adam Potter, the Northeast head coach, they play with a tight pitch. They play very, very physical football. Joao Prestes in and cleared again. Now a chance for Gajiri to facilitate. Makila, Gajiri, and Dutra, but held off at first. If anybody watched the Northeast game yesterday, you know how they like to play. Very direct, in your face. Prairie State very much the same. Created what Adam Potter called a quote-unquote fun game. He said it with the kind of smile that makes you think it wasn't that fun, it was just kind of very physical. Jaden Watson, Enrique Jacobs, and Scott Manning, who's had fun on this right wing. Manning running one-on-one. He's left-footed. Watson has Chris Tari in support. Jaden Watson slipping free. Top of the box, Enrique Jacobs, a heavy first touch. Gajiri and Leo Dutra kept it in and won a throw-in. Outside of those 2 games against Morton and Northeast, the only games they played against a team in this field were twice against the 9-seed Rock Valley. They won both. Leo Dutra checking in, slipping free. Dutra dances away. Joffrey uses his frame and physicality. Agbuku Joffrey. Patriots who beat Georgia Military to get here out of what is perceived to be the lowliest division in this NJCAA D2 ranks, the Atlantic. There's always a lot of doubters. There's always a low seed when you win that region. There's a reason they're the 12 seed despite not being an at-large bid. They are seen as a non-competitive team in this field, but they competed yesterday. They showed Northeast for 45-50 minutes that they did belong, and Northeast just had the fitness to outlast this group that really came in with a lot of heart. They didn't have a ton of great results this season. That one is overhit, and it's a good defensive stand for the Patriots. Their best results this year really that 2-0 win over Georgia Military and a 1-1 draw with Heartland, who is in this field. They are the 10 seed. They got shellacked Patrick and Henry 6-1 to the 3rd seeded CCBC Essex out of Baltimore County, Maryland. There's a shove off from Prestez. They have to win today, Patrick and Henry, if they want a chance to play in the semifinals. They lost today, and they get on the planes and go back to Martinsville. 5-hour flight to Virginia. Gujiri, Souza, Dutra just bounces off the defender. Leo Dutra. Still Dutra. He's muscled off, and Zaid Santo. Wind's picking up. Thiago Souza. And Enrique Jacobs comes rushing through, and that'll be the first caution of the game for Jacobs. Zaid Santo and Fabian Montez were not happy with each other. Center official Keishel. First name in the book. Expect a lot today with the way Prairie State play. They lead the nation in cautions with 60. They are 5th in red cards in that number. Patrick and Henry are 4th in yellows with 51. So you will see plenty of contact between these two today. .24th minute, neither side. 24 minutes to go, 21st minute. Neither side really with much to create so far. Prairie State struggling to get Agbuku Joffrey involved. Souza, a slipping ball, and Chavez, the wind has so much control over the way that ball moves. In all honesty, Chavez does well to deal with it. Aymeric Moulion, the sophomore defenders for this team, stepping up. Joffrey stands at the top of the 18. Souza's delivery is whipped in again, and Chavez has to do it again. He just punches it away. Souza, this time not as good. It slipped all the way through and whipped across and cleared away. That one got underneath the leg of Souza. You're watching the NJCAA Network, presented by Zurich Insurance, the official provider of student-athlete insurance for the NJCAA. Zurich helps athletes get back on the field after an injury. Learn more at zurichna.com. First substitution of the game comes, and it's Play Ray. Comes on for Hernandez Pacheco. Makila left the ball. It's been a frustrating first half so far for the defending champions. An 8 seed this year after winning as an 11 seed. This pesky bunch from Chicago Heights that rose over their in-city rivals Morton last year. It was the first state title, or national title, in the entire school's history, any sport. Mouliam. Can he escape away? Dutra. Dominguez. Dutra. Joffrey. Dutra again. Heavy touch from Leo Dutra. Falls kindly for Agboku. Joffrey, what a save, Chavez. And Joffrey was in for what seemed certain to be a finish. The other way now is Prestes. Slips past Mouliam, and Aymeric Mouliam has to deal with it, put it out. That was, if there was ever a spot to be that moment, it was right there. General Prestes struggling on the far side. He will stop the clock. Bring on the trainer to check on the freshman from Curitiba, Brazil. Scored a goal yesterday, unassisted off a scramble and a corner kick. He had room to roll around and just kind of shove one into the back of the net. This is an important time period as well for a couple of the key players for Carlos Reyes to get a conversation. Brennan Murphy having a talk with members of his staff as well as Edwin Clemente. Working on the lower body of Prestes. '25th minute, 3 more games still to come here on the men's side. Of course, the women playing as well today. You can follow along with all the action of the 2023 NJCAA Soccer Championships live on the NJCAA Network. Go to www.njcaa.org/network to view live and archived video of each game. The NJCAA Network is now available on mobile, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Android TV streaming platforms. The NJCAA Network, your home for NJCAA digital content. Prestes comes off, Clemente comes in. Played yesterday, Edwin Clemente. This is going to be appearance 14 on the season for the freshman. Mesquita, a diagonal. Looking for Manning into the wind and dealt with by the left back Montez. Dominguez, can they work their way through? Villa. Long ball for Joffrey. He'll run along it. Bodies just bounce off of him. Makila, a second ball. McGlory Makila. A wonderful tackle. It's Mesquita, Manning, and Jacobs. Advantage played. Enrique Jacobs slipping through a couple. In for Jaden Watson, his countryman, both from South Africa. Now out wide. Back for Katniss. Excellent shape to get back. Prairie State so defensively strong. Jaden Watson. Very difficult for a team that doesn't just have superior quality to solve these Pioneers. Watson. And all the way back for Chavez. Prairie State pick up ground. Santo. Tari. Jacobs. And seen to it by Prairie State. They defended firmly. Zaid Santo. And Watson. And spinning free, a chance to fire a ball in. Clay Ray, the sophomore from Winston-Salem, was looking for Manning. Not much to do for Igor Murjaljevic. Brought it up earlier, the star of the tournament a season ago in Tucson. Villa. Makila. Smacks one into the face of Souza. Enrique Jacobs on a slip ball through, and Murjaljevic felt tested. He's off his line, and they'll come back to talk to Souza. Took a ball banged off the head. You see Murjaljevic. Gonna go get him checked on, concussion protocol. I like those jerseys for Prairie State. Raised, looking for Dutra. Katniss cleanly. Moulion. It's a dangerous one, dealt with at first by Dominguez, and Jacobs pounced on it. He didn't have a ton of help. There's two Prairie State players down and now a third. behind for Chavez. Patrick and Henry have, we said it earlier with the game yesterday against Northeast, proved that they belonged there, and now against the defending champions. This team, who was heavily doubted from the Atlantic, has stood tall and proved they belong to be here. You could argue they had maybe the toughest draw of any team, having to play the number 1 overall seed and the reigning winners. They've stood up and stood tall. I think the only other group you can really make a case that would be tougher than this one is Pool D, where you've got the 4, the 5, and the 9 seed. 9 seed Iowa Lakes, though, or 9 seed Rock Valley, lost 7-0 to Iowa Lakes yesterday, maybe disproving that assumption. You'll see Rock Valley again tonight as they try and regain some confidence against the 5th seed Pima Aztecs, the local team here in Tucson. 2 Arizona teams in this tournament, them and Phoenix College. Jacobs, his first touch, was looking for Tari, but they were on a different page. A break for Mouliam, or no, Calais Toussaint. He was the man who came in to replace Souza. He's back in.
For Prairie State, number 7, Michael Souza.
It's the same thing as last year for Prairie State. They do not play a lot of players in this field. They will not make a lot of substitutions. They will ask their starting 11 to do all the heavy lifting. Dutra lost out to Santo. And Zaid Santo, nobody made a run. He wanted Edwin Clemente. But it's Mrjaljevic and, of course, the attacking trio of Dutra, Makila, Joffrey. This midfield of Villa, Souza, Gujiri. There's Villa, 1-2 with Makila, and then Joffrey, and McGlory Makila, and Villa continued his run. Good spin from Clemente. Couldn't get it to Tari. Moulin. Relentless pressure now from Watson. This game has hummed to a more simple rhythm over the last 10 minutes or so. We saw blowouts all day yesterday, a 5-1 win, a 4-0 win, a 7-0 win. We had one close game. That was 2-1. Heartland, who lost to CCBC, really looked like the better side for the majority of that contest, too. It was the only game that felt competitive today. If you're rooting for drama, you're rooting for the higher seeds here on Monday. Because if the 5, 6, 7, and 8 teams all find a way to win their opening games here on this beautiful windy day, that sets up de facto quarterfinals all throughout tomorrow's day. That's the Tuesday. So neutral, you want Prairie State to win to give yourself something to do tomorrow. Same place, same times, all here in Tucson, all on the NJCAA network. Joao Prestes re-enters as Clemente comes back off.
Number 10, Noel Prestes.
Souza, and forward for Joffrey. Long, lanky legs, lumbering forward. Agboku Joffrey squares for Makila, and Tari was there. And Chris Tari, who might have 5 lungs. He stretched all day for 75 minutes yesterday, comes back and makes a lung buster from midfield to the 6 to track one of the fastest players, the most agile players in this tournament. Another corner to come. Carlos Reyes, after win 120 in his 8-year career at Prairie State. Ball over the top, and there was Joffrey, who jumped over Katniss, and it wouldn't have counted, and it'll be a free kick for P&H. Brian Murphy with 35 career wins in half the time. A native of Martinsville, he's really found more success late. They had 11 wins last year, missed out on the tournament thanks to a loss to Georgia Military that saw their one-bid conference essentially send the Bulldogs dancing to Tucson. Watson, and this will be tricky to deal with, but well done and through the wickets from Play Ray. Watson into trouble. Mesquita has support from Santo, instead gives to his center back partner Bernal. Prestes and Manning and Jacobs and Tari continuing his overlap. And Makila this time, the man to track back. There was no foul, no touch. It'll be a goal kick for Prairie State. Mesquita, Select Sports is proud to be the official match ball of the NJCAA. Select Super FIFA Match Ball is used exclusively at all NJCAA soccer championships. Select Sport, inspired by history, but designed for the future. 9 minutes to go as Jacobs slips away, and that'll be an easy yellow card to throw out. It'll go to the left back, Fabian Montez, his 5th caution of the year. Montez has one, Jacobs has one for Patrick and Henry. Jordan Katniss, who missed yesterday due to a yellow card accumulation. He returns and takes set pieces. Ball floated to the back post, is headed at the top of the box. Tari missed on it. Still with Patrick and Henry, and frantic stuff from Agbaku Joffrey. Prestes and Katniss again. Back for Joao. This one's going to get hung up in the wind surely. Enough to find the feet of a teammate. Katniss, who's made his way inside, gave it right to a Pioneer. Over the top, Makila. He started in an onside position. McGlory Makila, one-on-one. Makila dazzles inside, and Chavez tipped it over. Another moment for Andre Chavez here this morning. Souza to take. one is going to roll all the way through. It didn't go in. There's a flag up, and it's a goal. Souza shot a ball in. It bounced around the big bodies of Joffrey and Prairie State have the opening goal in one of the weirdest ways we've seen a team score so far in Tucson. Andre Chavez, who's been so good this tournament.
Prairie State goal by number 7, Tiago Souza.
Tiago Souza just made something happen. It's all you can ask him to do when his team are a goal to the good with about 7 minutes to go. Patrick and Henry will feel a little bit hard done. Now they have to get their heads back up. They conceded first yesterday against Northeast and found a way to get back in it with a Joao Prestes goal. Chavez. This one gets stuck in the wind as well, and Makila couldn't keep it in off the head of Montez. PNH came in winning every game in the postseason after they lost their regular season finale.
Filling in for Patrick and Henry, number 5, Jude Mikami.
Trying to avoid dropping 2 in Tucson. Joffrey. Santo stepped in front. Villa has Dutra. Moulion. His center back partner today, Dominguez. Souza. An easy decision as Santo came through the back of Leo Dutra. Or rather, Souza. I tell you, you see the pink arm sleeve and you just think they're the same person. Souza, the goal scorer, will sting another one, and once again whipped by the wind. The defending champions, 1-0 lead with 5 minutes to play. In this first half, they gave it to Tiago Souza. A 39th minute finish. Straight from a corner kick. A long ball for Prestes through the channel, won by Dominguez. Katniss. And Katniss pushed away by Leo Dutra. It was inevitable. Eventually, Prairie State's physicality was going to win out. An undersized Prairie State team versus one of the biggest teams in this field. Tari, who'd made a run forward, left Makila with room to roam. McGlory Makila bounding into the box. Makila, and Tari once again tracks all the way back. Souza from the same spot. Hits the same type of ball, and now Scott Manning and Prestes and Jacobs and Prestes again and Jacobs again. Does he have the room to keep it in as he stumbles through? Took a weird fall. And a change for Carlos Reyes. Makila with a breather. 3 minutes from time. Luis Munoz makes his 19th appearance of the season, a freshman from Barcelona, Venezuela.
Luis Munoz.
Villa. Good pressure from Santo. And Said Santo. That's a run joining him. He had nowhere to go with it. Just a wall of white. Sosa, Villa, Dutra. And Leo Dutra. Felipe Villa. Spaniard Dominguez. So many of these guys have a ring already on one finger. They're after another. Prestes chases Murjaljevic. He's one of those guys. And it was a big thing. Last year's team, while they were battle-tested and defended and worked their way to a national title, they were young. They returned so many players from that team. Look down the line with Murjaljevic, with, of course, Dylan Hawley, who won't play tonight. Today, Gujiri, Makila. Keep going with Dutra, the talented player that he is. Muliam. A minute remaining. It's Thiago Souza's goal. Directly from a scrambled corner kick that beat Andre Chavez, who's been good today in net for the team in blue. Forward ball for Scott Manning. And they turn it over. Maybe one last chance before we hit halftime for Leo Dutra. Dutra dancing through, and he wanted to go himself. It was awkward. Offside flag will pop up on the substitute Munoz. Imagine Patrick and Henry will take as much time as they can. Chavez will just put it away, and
7, 6,
how we get to halftime.
3, 2,
A 1-0 lead for Prairie State, the defending champions. Took them a while to get going. A 38th minute goal.